Welcome to the Nameless.
I checked the camera after the second knock. There was no one there. That was the first time I felt it. Not fear, not yet, just confusion. I live alone, third-floor apartment, nothing special. Beige walls, cheap carpet, the kind of place you rent because it's close to work and the price doesn't make you suspicious. The knock came at 9:17 p.m. 2 sharp raps. Not aggressive, not timid, just deliberate. I remember checking my phone immediately. I don't know why. Maybe to confirm the time. Maybe to anchor myself to something normal. 9:17. I wasn't expecting anyone. No deliveries, no friends. My parents live 3 states away. And no one I know just drops by. I walked to the door, slowly. There's a peephole, but it distorts everything into a warped fisheye. I prefer the door camera. It records automatically, sends clips to my phone. I didn't open the door. I waited. Sometimes people knock on the wrong unit. 30 seconds passed. Nothing. I checked the live feed. The hallway was empty.
Fluorescent lights buzzing softly overhead. Beige walls. Fire extinguisher cabinet across the hall. The little red light on my own camera glowing back at me. No one there. I replayed the last minute. The knock was clear on the recording. 2 distinct taps. The camera shook slightly with each one. But the hallway, empty. No footsteps approaching, no shadow passing, no one leaving. Just the knock. I told myself it was a glitch, sound lag, compression error. Maybe the system stitched audio from another clip. Technology does weird things sometimes. I went back to the couch, turned the TV volume up. By 9:24, I'd almost convinced myself I imagined it. Then, it happened again. 2 knocks, exactly the same spacing, exactly the same force. My chest tightened. Not a jump, just pressure, like my body knew something my brain didn't. I stood there this time, didn't rush, waited for the follow-up. A voice, another knock. Nothing. Silence. I opened the app before even moving toward the door. The live feed loaded. Empty hallway. Same fluorescent hum, same red recording light. I scrubbed back 10 seconds. The camera shook again. Twice. But the frame before and after, still empty. No one in view. No movement at either end of the hall. I remember leaning closer to my phone screen, as if I'd spot something hiding in a pixel. Nothing. I muted the TV. The apartment felt bigger without sound, or maybe emptier. I stood there for a full minute before unlocking the door. I don't know why I did that. Curiosity, I guess, or stubbornness. I opened it slowly. The hallway smelled faintly like carpet cleaner, the kind the building uses every few months. No footsteps, no doors closing, just that steady fluorescent buzz. I stepped out, looked left, looked right. The stairwell door at the end of the hall was shut. Elevator light was dark. No one. I even walked to the stairwell and pushed the door open. Echoing concrete steps. Empty. When I came back inside, I locked the door and slid the chain across. I checked the camera settings, motion sensitivity, audio calibration, firmware updates. Everything normal. I went to bed uneasy. Not terrified, just unsettled. The next morning, I asked the neighbor across the hall if they heard anything. She's in her late 50s. Quiet, keeps to herself. Knocking? She repeated. Yeah, around 9:30. She shook her head. I was home, didn't hear a thing. Her tone was flat, not dismissive, just factual. I checked with the guy at the end of the hall later that afternoon. Same response. No knocking, no visitors. I let it go. For 3 days, nothing happened. Work, gym, groceries, normal life. Then Thursday night came. 9:17 p.m. 2 knocks. Identical. I didn't move this time. I stared at the door, waited for the second round.
It came at 9:24. 2 more. Same rhythm. My heart was pounding now, hard enough that I could hear it in my ears. I opened the app.
The hallway was empty again, but this time something felt different. The lighting looked dimmer. Not dramatically, just slightly, like the bulbs had aged a year overnight. I checked the timestamp. Accurate. I replayed the clip, and that's when I noticed something small. The fire extinguisher cabinet across the hall. It was open, just barely, an inch. It had always been closed before. I was sure of that. I zoomed in. The angle wasn't great, but the glass door looked ajar. I hadn't noticed it in the live feed, only in the playback. I opened my door immediately. The hallway looked normal, bright, even lighting, and the fire extinguisher cabinet? Closed, completely shut. I walked over and touched it. Cold glass, solid latch, no sign it had ever been open. I went back inside slowly. That night, I didn't sleep well. Every small building noise felt intentional. Plumbing knocking, elevator cables humming, someone's muffled TV through the wall. I started noticing things I hadn't before. Like how the hallway light outside my door flickered very slightly when the elevator ran, or how the camera's red recording light sometimes blinked even when there was no motion alert. Friday morning, I decided to talk to the leasing office. The manager, Karen, pulled up my unit on her computer. "3rd floor, right?" she asked. "Yeah, 3B. She frowned. "That's odd." "What?" She turned the monitor slightly toward herself, clicking through tabs. 3B shows as unoccupied. I laughed a little. "I live there." "I know," she said quickly. "That's just weird." She refreshed the system. The unit list flickered. 3A, 3C, 3D. No 3B. "Maybe it's a software thing," she muttered. She asked for my lease agreement. I had a digital copy on my phone. I emailed it to her. She opened it. Her frown deepened. The document header was blank where the unit number should be. My name was there, rent amount, dates, but the line that should have read Unit 3B was empty. I stared at it. "That's not right," I said. "It definitely said 3B. Karen nodded slowly. "I'll contact corporate," she said. "Probably just a data error." I went back upstairs with a strange, hollow feeling in my chest. When I stepped into the hallway, something felt longer. The corridor seemed stretched, just slightly, like the distance to the stairwell had increased by a few feet. I told myself that was stress. Perspective shifts when you're anxious. I unlocked my door, paused, looked at the number mounted beside it. It read 3. Just a single number. No letter. I blinked. I was sure it had said 3B. I checked the other doors. 3A, 3C, 3D. Mine just said 3. I took a photo, sent it to Karen. She replied 10 minutes later. "That door has always been labeled 3. I scrolled back through old photos on my phone. I don't take many pictures inside my apartment, but I found one for move-in day. Boxes stacked by the door. The number plate visible in the background. It just said 3. I felt cold. That night, 9:17 came again. 2 knocks. I didn't check the camera right away. I just sat there, let the silence fill the room. 9:24. 2 more. This time, I waited 5 full minutes before opening the app. The hallway looked different. Not dramatically, just emptier. The fire extinguisher cabinet was gone. In its place was blank wall. Same paint color, same scuff marks near the baseboard, but no cabinet. I zoomed in. Nothing. I ran to the door and opened it. The cabinet was there, bright red, solid glass, exactly where it should be. I closed the door slowly, backed away from it. I decided to test something. I left my apartment at 9:10 the next night, stood at the far end of the hallway near the stairwell, waited. 9:17. Nothing. 9:24. Nothing. No knocks, no sounds. I walked back toward my door. Halfway down the hall, I froze. From inside my apartment, I heard 2 knocks. Clear, distinct, coming from the other side of my own door. I didn't move. I couldn't. The sound wasn't loud, just precise. 2 measured taps. At 9:24, it happened again. I left the building that night, drove around for an hour. When I came back, everything looked normal. The next morning, I searched for the building online. Reviews, old listings, public records. The address auto-filled in search bars, but when I clicked official property records, nothing came up. No tax history, no construction date, no ownership data. It was like the address existed for delivery services in GPS, but nowhere else. I drove to the county records office 2 days later, asked about the property. The clerk typed it in, paused. "Are you sure that's the address?" "Yes." She tried again. "There's no building registered there." I laughed nervously. "There is. I live in it." She turned the monitor slightly toward me. Blank result. I went home and asked the neighbor across the hall how long she'd lived there. She stared at me for a second too long. "I don't live here," she said. I blinked. "Yes, you do. 3A. She shook her head slowly.
"I'm visiting my sister." "Which unit?" She didn't answer, just closed her door. I checked the directory by the lobby entrance that night. It had always listed tenant names next to unit numbers. Now it was empty, just numbers, no names. My name was never there. I started doubting small things, like whether I'd ever signed a lease in person. I remember emailing documents, but I can't remember sitting in that office. I checked my bank statements. Rent payments were there, but the recipient wasn't the property management company. It was an account number. No name attached. The knocks kept coming, every night. 9:17, 9:24. Always 2. Never 3, never 1. I stopped opening the door, stopped checking the camera, until one night, I didn't hear them. 9:17 passed in silence. 9:24 passed too. The absence felt worse. I opened the app anyway. The hallway camera feed was black. Not offline, just black. Timestamp running normally in the corner. I opened my door slowly.
The hallway lights were off, completely dark. No fluorescent hum, no exit sign glow, just darkness stretching in both directions. I stepped out. The air felt still, thicker. I reached for my phone flashlight. Before I turned it on, 2 knocks behind me from inside my apartment. I turned slowly. The door was closed. I was sure I hadn't shut it. 2 more knocks from the other side. I didn't open it. I just stood there, listening, waiting for something else. Nothing came. After a long minute, I pushed the door open. The apartment looked exactly the same. TV remote on the coffee table, kitchen light on, bedroom door cracked open. Normal. The hallway lights flickered back on behind me. When I checked the camera feed later, there was no footage of me stepping outside. No footage of darkness. Just the hallway, brightly lit. Empty. I started sleeping with the chain locked and a chair wedged under the handle. But part of me wondered, if something was knocking from the inside, what exactly was I locking out? A week ago, I packed a bag. I decided to leave. I carried boxes down to my car. No one in the building acknowledged me. No doors opened, no elevator sounds. When I went back up for the last time, I noticed something. There were only 3 doors on the 3rd floor. 3A, 3C, 3D. No space where mine had been. No patch in the carpet, no removed frame. Just wall, smooth and continuous. I stood there for a long time, certain I was in the wrong place. I checked the stairwell, 3rd floor. I went down to the lobby. The directory listed only 3 third-floor units. I asked the front desk attendant about Unit 3. He looked confused. We don't have a Unit 3. I drove away anyway. I'm staying in a short-term rental now. Small place, different neighborhood. Last night at 9:17, there was a knock. 2 taps. On the front door. I didn't move. At 9:24, 2 more. I opened the door immediately. No one there. No hallway this time. Just the street. Empty. I don't know if the building ever existed. I don't know if I lived there. My lease has no unit number. The records show nothing. And sometimes I wonder if I never had an apartment at all, then who was knocking to be let out?